What did Dejounte Murray mean by system? And where does Devin Vassell have to improve ahead of next season?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I am your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kids 5 San Antonio. Happy Monday, everybody. Start of a work week, but we're here to get you through this weekend, and we're going to kick it off just right because we're going to bring up Dejounte Murray again. I know. Just when you think this topic is over, it's not over yet. Frankly, it's the offseason, like the bad part of the offseason where everything is just grinding to a halt. If you really think about it, this is like the first real offseason the NBA has had in years because of the pandemic. But so it's been a while since it's been this type of offseason. But nevertheless, we're going to expand on the whole system word that Dejounte Murray used in his social media post that lit up for the Spurs fan base. And then we're going to start looking ahead at next season. We're going to start off with Devin Vassell and what areas does he need to improve on? And is he going to be the vocal leader of the Spurs? Who is helping me today? My colleague over at Kens5.com, the weekend sports anchor, Casey Vieira. Casey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. And we're in this offseason, aren't we now? Now, this is the doldrums of the offseason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is usually when you bring me on 3 times a week because you know, ain't nobody else around.
Hey, who else is
on
gonna
vacation?
Who else is going to talk to me about lunchboxes that Keldon Johnson is going to bring to Media Day and, the new shoelaces that the NBA is going to bring out? But
oh, man, the 3-time-a-week COVID days feels like years ago.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available where we get podcasts. And just a warning, Locked On Spurs is going to start slowing down. It's not going to be as frequent anymore until the new season is here. But nevertheless, it is the off season. But, there's a few topics that we can still discuss. And the big one still, I think, is still resonating with Spurs fans is the Dejounte Murray social media tweets. Talk about a breakup that kind of went a little bad afterwards, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I'm still kind of, I'm still kind of processing why is he so mad? Like, what did the Spurs do that has him being so petty? You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. So what happened last year? They let DeRozan, I don't know, they were content with DeRozan walking because they're like, all right, we want to see Dejounte being the guy. Said Dejounte is the guy and largely does a pretty good job. I mean, he makes the All-Star game replacement. I mean, metrically, advanced stats, he's top 20 in a lot of big things. Had a really good year, had a breakout year. The Spurs, they realize that they're in a rebuild. And so they're saying, you know what, let's send you to a team that you have a chance to win with. Okay. They send you to a team that he has a chance to win with. And so all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get, oh, I'm not being held back anymore. I'm about to, I'm me again, things like that. The
I'm free. Broken. Capital letters.
I'm free. It's like, what? This is not like a situation, like a John Wall situation where they're telling him don't show up to work. Like you're like he was the focal point of the team. They gave him everything, and he starts being vocal about how they were holding him back and alluding to things behind the scenes. But for me, I think a lot of it is that I don't want to say we should have saw this coming, but how many times during the year did he get on these Twitter rants? And we were just wondering, like, dude, why are you so mad? What's why are you so fired up? And then on the other side of the coin, it's demanding for all these things respect and things like that. And it's like, all right, dude, let's, okay, you made the play-in last year. Let's see what you can do. And then you get 3/4 of the way of the season, and the only reason they're in the play-in is because LeBron is on vacation in February.
Yeah,
You
and
know
then
what
in
I
the
mean?
play-in, he doesn't step up. It was Devin Vassell who stepped up
Oh yeah,
in that
and then
play-in game. Yeah.
above all else, right? And then above all else, when it comes time to play the biggest game of the year, he has probably one of his worst games of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
The only thing I think of is because I don't know if you're aware of, everybody saw that tweet and then that IG post, but I believe a day later, or maybe even a half a day after the IG post, there was another shot fired. I don't, maybe you didn't, maybe you missed that one, where a fan came in to defend him, to say,
Yes.
I'll miss you, Dejounte. Go kill it over there in Atlanta. And then in that message to Dejounte, he put in there, in a nutshell, by the way, you are loyal. Maybe the Spurs are not. And then that's when Dejounte replies saying, okay, you're smart. Now you get it. It's not about the fans.
Yeah.
I'm not angry at the fans. So I think he perceived some unloyalty, if you will, from the Spurs.
Yeah.
I think that's what he saw. But hey, you're right. But he got his cake and eat it. He gets to do both, eat it and do everything. You
Right.
get dealt from a rebuilding situation. You're not in your prime years yet. He openly said that at Summer League to ESPN, that he says, I'm nowhere near my prime. You join a team that likely is going to make the playoffs. How far they get, remains to be seen. So what's the issue? The only I can think of is motivation, just something to spark him. That Shaq, remember when Shaq made up the story about Robinson not signing an autograph for him when he was little? And that sparked him. Yeah, that's what I can think of. Like, maybe he's just looking for some motivation to get him going. But yeah, it's just weird. But
Should
in
you
his
need it? That's what it takes,
Yeah, and here's the thing too. When he's over there on social media just spouting off, one thing he didn't mention in the first IG post about the Spurs system, and that's what we're going to expand on. He said that he thinks something's bigger than basketball, and the system over there doesn't work, or something to that degree. We know he's referring to the Spurs. He's a young kid. We forget he's what, 24, 25? He's just a kid.
What is it, 25?
Yeah. He's just a kid, and the Spurs system. I mean, our last guest on Locked On Spurs, Pledger, he says that it's still archaic. That is still trying to hang on to the Tim Duncan era. Like that Tim Duncan era system worked. To a lesser degree, the LaMarcus Aldridge era, because the LMA was very, social media shy, didn't want to do media. But he just feels that maybe Dejounte's talking about the overall culture of minimal media, minimal fan interaction. Minimal,
but
do what you got to do.
Then in the context,
and
then in the context, he was saying all those things initially. I agree with Pledge when he says that it's archaic and they hold on to a lot of the past. That I agree with. I do agree with that. But then in that context with him, what does that have to do with him turn around saying, you guys aren't going to win for another 15 years?
It's a shot, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, contextually, the two are apples and oranges. Like, where's the relevancy with the two? You know what I mean?
Oh, right. The only link I could think of is that the Spurs go through that whole Spurs process as a kid. You got drafted. Yay. See you in Austin. Talk to you when you're ready. Maybe that is a system that blends the two, where no, you get drafted a la Primo and you don't spend a second in Austin. You come right to the San Antonio.
That's different. Yeah, but I mean that's different times though. Where's a 20-year-old kid going to play in a rotation that has worked, full of functioning veterans? I'm referring to like up to like 16, 17. Right even 17, 18, even that year pre-Kawhi. You have a functioning team that's win now. With everybody who knows their role, there's no sense of urgency to put a 20-year-old on the floor, send them to Austin so they can get the burn. You know what I mean? That's a different, the use of Austin between then and now was only so frequent because the kids weren't going to play.
Mhm.
They weren't going to play here, so send them to Austin, get them on the court.
Right.
And I think that's why, like you said, Primo didn't spend any time there because there was a window of opportunity for him to play. Just like I think it's going to be the case this year.
Yeah.
I
they got
all
no
those guys
choice.
are gonna get a
I
chance.
think.
Yeah,
they got no choice. Yeah,
but,
they got
but
no
to a
choice. They
degree
got to
last
play
year
them.
as well.
Yeah.
But to a degree last year as well. Yeah.
BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in all your betting needs. For all your favorite sports and events at the number one online source for all odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sporting wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They got you covered. Even got the lines on whether or not the trio of rookies out in San Antonio will make a push for the Rookie of the Year award next season. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. Go right now. Go to BetOnline where the game starts. We're talking with Casey Vieira. He is my colleague at Kens5.com. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Vieira. And we're talking about, yes, Dejounte Murray IG post. And what do you mean by system? Yeah, there's so many things you can look at the word system. Is it the culture? Is it the, like I said, minimal fan interaction, media interaction? I mean, I don't know if you heard or you saw, and if not, I'll send it to you. Our friends over at San Antonio Sports Star, Rob Thompson, when this whole Dejounte Murray thing popped up, he told like this story that is a little eye popping, that he met Dejounte Murray his rookie season during media day. And at the media day session, they're just wandering around back in the old day, back when you used to be able to wander the whole practice court and just kind of talk to players. And that Rob pulled out his little portable, voice recorder and put it to Dejounte asking for a liner. Just like one sentence. This is Dejounte Murray. Listen to Locked On Spurs. This is Dejounte Murray. You're here at Kens5.com.
I think I've heard.
You heard the story? Yeah.
Go ahead. I think so.
And that he said he wasn't even pressing the button yet to get Dejounte to speak and to record. That out of nowhere, that somebody of the Spurs staff grabbed his voice recorder, took it out of his hand, and said, "We're not doing that today." And then
for some reason, I remember he told me that story as well, and I was trying to, and we may have even talked about it, but that process has like Dwayne Dedman in my head.
Yeah. Oh no. The Dwayne Dedman story is separate and apart. At least according to Rob, that Dwayne Dedman got fined, got fined for simply just going on his show there, The Star, just talking about what it's like to be a Spur. That was it. Something so innocent.
That's
nothing.
What it was. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But my point is
along the same lines both ways. Yeah.
Right. But our point is, or my point is that the system doesn't allow for players to really interact with people, get to know everybody. Look, these kids nowadays, Casey, they're about social media. Jeremy Sohan just had an impromptu Q&A with fans.
Right.
No, unregulated by the Spurs staff. He just popped on social media and just started chatting with fans, and fans got to know him. And I think that's refreshing. I think that's needed. But the system doesn't allow them to maybe expand their brand. Pump out the. I mean, when was the last? I still argue that the last truly marketable player for the Spurs was David Robinson. He was the last. No, let me finish. I mean, Tim Duncan.
Yeah, okay.
Was he marketable? Was he marketable? I mean, was he really out there?
He's not the most social he's not the most social butterfly in the world. Yes.
Manu wasn't. Tony a little bit, but it was more in France. Kawhi, well, you can forget about that. David Robinson was the one that was doing Hollywood movies. David Robinson was the one.
Yeah. So right. So what's your I'm sorry.
Like
what's your definition of marketable?
like a spur that can say, you know what, when I'm in San Antonio, look what I can do. I'm on movies. Have Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood Reebok, Nike commercials. You know, I'm starring in the
Okay.
starring in the MC Hammer music video.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
co-starring
Yeah,
with
then I
Billy
agree with that.
Crystal. You know, he was the
Yeah.
last
Okay.
marketable one. You know, and after that, that's it. It's like San Antonio became this desert, this desert, and now, you know, you got lucky with Timmy and Tony and Manu. You know, they didn't really want the spotlight so much. I mean, like I said, Parker may have been the outlier in those three. Then you have Kawhi, who was just about shutting it down, zipping it. LMA was also quiet about things. DeMar was just here for a cup of coffee. And now you have Dejounte. These new kids are coming in, and they want to get their New Balance sneakers out there. They want
Yeah.
to, you know, get their clothing line out there. DeMar tried. He brought his clothing line to San Antonio, but nevertheless, you know, when you think of the system, there's so many things about it. Is it about how they are clinging on to the past? Is it about how maybe the Spurs system doesn't allow them to be very marketable? Because
Yeah.
DeJounte's always talk. You know, the most interaction I had with DeJounte during his time in San Antonio. Yes, we spoke about the game, but if I brought up anything about his New Balance shoes, forget about it. Just forget about it. He's chatting me up
Yeah.
as if like he knows me since he was a
Right.
kid. Yeah, your thoughts?
Right. I mean, so like, is that? It's just like, what's the definition of system then? Because if that is what he's saying, that's the system, then yeah, I agree with him. But then in the context, he's talking about no, you know, the product of the floor and win loss and the way the system is set up, you're not going to win for 15 years. And what way does Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood affect win loss on the floor? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that if it was him talking about a marketability standpoint, the ability to reach fans, get out there, that kind of thing, I'm with him. Because I think it's true. It's been too tight-lipped, and you know the Spurs are at a different window, a different time frame right now, and they know that this is a different bunch, different group of guys, and that's why said guys are getting out there and they're doing a good job of getting the new guys out there,
Mm-hmm.
and rightfully so, because the new guys that they're trying to get out there, Branham and Sohan and Blake Wesley, they're all really good, charming, entertaining guys that you want to build your brand around. But back as it pertains to Dejounte, though, yeah, I mean, if it's so tough to read this dude and his social media amidst
Mm-hmm.
his, you know, capitalized words, every single word, which is a different conversation in its own right. Yeah, I mean, if that is what he's complaining about, all right, he's right. But is that really worth complaining about to the degree where you're just, you know, being petty to the extent that you are, turn around flashing money on the Instagram, some
Yeah, what
other
was that about?
NSFW and some other NSFW posts that not allowed to talk about on here, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's referring to that. I don't think he's referring to that. Me
Well,
personally, I do
yeah.
not. But yeah.
Well, when I hear the word system, and it's pretty safe to infer that he's talking about the San Antonio system. Then the whole
Of course.
system needs revamping. You know, whether that be their community, their fan reach, their marketability, the ability. I mean, we always bring this up. The moment Danny Green gets traded, boom, podcast. I mean, it was
Yeah.
he had it ready to go, fire it off.
Right.
Um,
Right.
for ex players become a lot more media friendly. A lot
Right.
more. Richard Jefferson just turns on the charm the moment he leaves San Antonio.
Right.
But you know, it's just the whole system.
I mean,
And
if
yeah,
that's it, yeah. If that's
yeah.
it,
But
if that's what it is, then
well,
he's right.
I'm just looking at the whole, like, everything that means system, whether it be that, as you talk about, win losses. Okay, yeah. Then there's the Austin angle. Do they just stash them in Austin and then bring them to San Antonio? Well, now they got no choice. They're going to have to bring these kids in now. Is it something deeper, because he did say it's bigger than basketball. And I think that might be the key phrase in what Dejounte has shared in his Instagram post. It's bigger than basketball. Maybe it's something deeper.
Do you feel? I'm trying to it's a few thoughts here, and it's a little all over the place. I'm trying to bring a central direction to it, so bear with me. Do you feel like he was of the belief that they wanted to build around him and put pieces around him, or he felt that way, and then they realized that they were not going to be very good if they did that, in all likelihood? They're not going to say that to him directly, but
right.
they're saying that we trust our quicker path to success is not around you.
I mean, they did that with Keldon.
Is that it?
They showed Keldon love. They gave Keldon a big contract. But they
but that big. I mean, Dejounte got his. The only reason Dejounte's extension was as much of a deal as it was because he had an ACL injury 2 years before that.
Right.
I don't know. I'm trying to put pieces together around that. Is that maybe they had told him, they had fed him all these things like he's the guy, he's the guy, he's the guy. We believe in you. You're the guy, and he's thinking, okay, I'm here in San Antonio. I love the fans. And this is working out pretty well. I'm an all-star. People in this city like me. And then he feels like kind of hurt, kind of blindsided because they said, you know what, we're going a different direction. We're going to, we don't think we're a win now team.
Right.
Yeah. We don't think we're a win now team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could see that, because maybe in his eyes, he's saying, look, we're knocking on the door to the playoffs, playing, make it to the play-in. We're right there. Give me a couple more pieces and boom, we're in. Whether that be waiting for Keldon to make his leap, which we start to see that last season, he was starting down that path. Vassell definitely took steps forward. In his eyes, he's thinking, I think we have enough here. Get one more piece, a John Collins, for example, and we're good. And then they go, it's all right. It's all right. We need to hit the reset button. But hey, we can send you to Atlanta and you join your buddy out there. And he's like, okay, cool. All right, fine. And then it hits him like, wait a minute here. Hold up.
It could be. It could be, because that might be the most sensible way. And Dejounte, as we know, is just incredibly difficult to figure out. But if we want to talk about a rational, closest to rational, I guess, thought process or argument, was that he felt spurned, and now he's saying all these things like, I'll show you that I'm the guy that you should have built around. And some of these things that he's saying, coming out really petty things like that, are just kind of being, I don't want to say misconstrued, because I feel like he was pretty direct with what he's saying. And he's saying things like, 15 years, it's going to take 15 years. It's the system.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, hate to say it, I like Dejounte, good player, nice guy, but Dejounte Murray is not a every 15-year type of player. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah. I guess that's the closest to it. If we want to put some kind of rhyme or reason, he just felt really hurt by it. Mm-hmm. And that, he felt that they had something and they didn't, and they went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they fed him something different than he thought, or what he was being told all the way back this time last year. And now he's frustrated. He's being a 25-year-old kid. He's frustrated, caught up in the moment, saying some things that he'll probably regret in a couple of years when he's, 28, 29, 30. He's a little bit older and wiser. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's probably the closest to that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be brought up when he makes his return to San Antonio next season. I hope somebody asks him. I hope I'm there to ask him. but
Yeah.
we'll definitely see that. But yeah, whew, that was a heavy topic. This is good for the off season. That was a good one. All right, well, let's calm
Right.
things down a bit and kind of quickly wrap up this episode of Locked On Spurs. We're here with my colleague at Kens5.com. He is Casey Vieira, the weekend sports anchor. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Vieira. We're going to turn the corner now and talk about Devin Vassell, Murray's old running mate out in San Antonio. You're looking. We talked about Keldon Johnson in the last episode of Locked On Spurs, but I think Vassell should start getting a little bit of shine because he's going to be looked on as one of the quote unquote veterans now. I mean, he is. He's entering his third season, and for a very young team, that is a veteran on the roster. But over the offseason, he's been adding more bulk to his frame. I've been told that he and Keldon Johnson are spending a lot of time working out together, just them two. So they already feel as if they're going to be leading this team. Where would you like to see Vassell take his next step, whether it be statistically, the mid-range, the three-shot, facilitator, or is it something more in the locker room?
I think a little bit of both. And I think the window of opportunity to do both is there, without a doubt. Really, for a lot of these guys, the window of opportunity to do just about anything is there. I think for him, from the leadership standpoint, whether he would even prefer to do it or not, I mean, that's kind of, he's going to be the one that a lot of these young dudes are coming up to being like, hey, what's going on? How's this thing work? And that's going to be his thing by default. But from an on-the-court standpoint, there's going to be a chance, especially if this point guard thing isn't figured out, which by all indication, it does not appear like it's going to be by the fall. Let's get a little bit of a facilitating thing kind of going on. Let's get something like that. Let's see him handle the ball, try to create his shot a little bit. Just take advantage of the fact that potential advantage is there. For me, I think that's how he takes a next step. I don't know about the next step, but a next step to maximizing his game. I know you're going to see that out of Keldon.
Oh, for sure.
You're going to definitely see that out of Keldon. And viably, I mean, you can make the argument that Devin Vassell is the second most viable option on that offense.
They're going to
by volume.
Yeah, they're going to need each other because heading into the season, the ball's going to start and end with, for the most part, Keldon. And teams are going to see that, and they're going to try to shut him down, double team him, get the ball out of his hand, make him work harder on the offensive end. So he's going to need a running mate, and that's where Vassell comes in. Or it could be vice versa. Vassell might be the guy that has a breakout season, and Keldon needs to be his sidekick. But the point is they're really going to need each other. But for Vassell, you started to see that gradual increase throughout the season last year. So if we just look at the last 3 months of the season, 12.8 points per game in February, 11 games played. March, 12 games played, 13.1 points per game. And then the final month, 6 games in April, 17.7 points per game. His assists shot up in March. It was about 2. It went to 3. The only thing that remained consistent in a good way is his turnovers remained low. I don't think he gets enough shine for that. He doesn't really make a lot of costly turnovers. In February, just 0.5 turnovers. And in April, 6 games played, 0.2. So that's really good. That's one thing I like about his game. So you're starting to...
That number's going to go up, though, because it's going to be a more volume thing. I mean, that's inevitable to go up, so I wouldn't be overly concerned if that were to happen.
The only thing I think it can really impact Vassell as far as making a progression on the court, offensively and defensively, maybe not so much defensively, though, but is as of right now, there is no true, we don't know who the point guard is. If it's Trey Jones, that will help because Trey Jones is very traditional point guard, very set up first, my shot second. Is it Josh Primo? Dynamic, young, but turns the ball over a lot and maybe isn't ready yet as of right now. He's just 19 years old. Or do they trust it into Blake Wesley, who showed something in Summer League, but again, 19 years old. So that How do you see that impacting? I mean, just the team, just right. I mean, unless they go out and get a veteran in the free agents market, but if they're going to roll the dice and really rebuild and run with one of these three guys, then that could really impact.
What were you asking? The lack
I'm
of point
asking
guard play, how's it going to impact?
like I think the whoever they get tab as the point guard can really impact Vassell and KJ.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because if it's
I agree
Primo,
with that. That's yeah. Honestly, if it's presently constructed, I think Trey Jones is going to be the starting point guard opening night, right?
right. I think
Presently
so too.
constructed. I mean, right now for that fit, I guess that's probably the best option until you know that a guy like this, as it pertains to Vassell, at least can create his own shot. That's probably the best option. Still, it gets him the touches, but he's not a ball dominant player.
I would really
not
like
the
to
deep covered we're working with here, man.
Well, there also too another big factor is, and it kind of blends in with the point guard, is Dejounte Murray is gone, and he was, everything ran through him last season. Everything defensively started with him, offensively started with him. Plays were called for him. He called his own shots. Now that's gone now, so we're gonna see if that's gonna really help Vassell, and I think it will, and get more touches, and then we should see some of these numbers increase next season. One thing I'm not worried about is his ability to be vocal. We saw that in press conferences after losses, especially. I think we talked about this before. Remember that string of games they lost? It was just like bad. Like they were just losing games just stupidly, like blowing leads and everything. And they got to a point where Vassell went off script last season and just kind of gasped and looked at the media and was like, "What are we doing here? Like, what the F is going on here?"
Yeah, I remember. We were all caught up. We're like, you said like 6 words since you've been here. I don't even know what your voice sounds like. Who? What? What's going on?
Yeah. So I'm not worried about that. I think he has that in lock. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see. For me, I like to see him just really get to the free throw line. I think get more aggressive attacking the rim. I think that'll help him become that 3-level scorer. We know he can knock down the 3. Would you say he has a mid-range, or that still needs improvement?
Consistent definitely needs improvement. He's shown he's capable at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think going to the free throw line would help him become that 3-level scorer. Who knows? Maybe a guy like Malachi Branham might push him in the training camp. So yeah, I mean, this team, man. If you start thinking about the makeup of this team and who's on the roster as of this recording, maybe Vegas isn't right. I mean, maybe Vegas is spot on. 23.5 games. Actually, Casey, the line changed. Brace yourself, everybody. Now? The Spurs are now projected to win 24.5. So yay, one more win.
Oh, baby. They got faith in the Keldon Johnson contract.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as like I said, right now 24.5, but still I think they pegged them as the second worst team in the NBA as of right now. But they're
now the second go around.
Second go around, yeah. I think they would. I think it was still the Kings at the bottom. I think it was the Kings. Or I'm sorry, not the Kings. I'm sorry. Thunder. But
elite company, huh?
I know. Whew. This rebuild starts in just a few short months. But we're done talking. We want to hear from you. We really dived into that whole system word that Dejounte said on his Instagram post. What do you think? You agree with him? You disagree with him? What do you think he's trying to talk about when he referred to the Spurs system and things being bigger than basketball out in San Antonio? And what about Devin Vassell? Where would you like to see his growth in next season? It's just simply X's and O's, and that's good enough for you, or you really want to see him take his game to a whole new level on the court and in the locker room? Casey, what's going on over there at Ken's 5 for you?
The usual. It's slow this time of year, just like you. But got football starting soon, so that should be good.
And you got the XFL, the worst kept secret in San Antonio.
We'll see, man. I know that's chatter for Sunday. I hope so.
I mean, it's pretty obvious now, right? It's
I
been
don't
it's
know
been
if
leaked.
anything's obvious.
It's been
Yeah,
leaked
I don't
already
know.
who the coach is, and
Yeah, I know there was another outlet that reported that, but I mean, I'm not. I'll believe it when I see it. I've seen this too many times before.
yeah.
But I mean,
Oh,
I'd be remiss not to say that this is certainly a qualified city to host. That's for
right.
sure.
Man, that Commanders thing that was a debacle. That was a debacle.
Well, the thing that was crazy was like they were drawing well. They were actually doing well. I used to live in that Southtown area,
Hmm.
and game days. I mean, it was pretty busy on that side of town. So I always felt like when they went under, it caught me off guard. I mean, mind you, in time I didn't know about 95% of the business dealings as to why it went out and subsequent details as to why that happened. But it seemed like things were a go, all systems go, and it was drawn pretty well. I was
Hmm.
sorely mistaken, but yeah, I guess the Commanders were. It was an interesting time in the city's life.
It was another semi-pro team, just comes and goes. I think with this like more than just a handful now of these football teams to come and go. You had the Talons, you had the
Oh yeah.
Commanders, you had the Force, you had the Gunslingers. All right, let's get the one that's still surviving till today is the reinvented Gunslingers that's in an arena football team in San Antonio, and they play at the
Oh yeah.
Coliseum that's right next to the
Yeah.
AT&T Center. So
Yeah, they just wrapped up, or they wrap up this weekend. Their last home game was last weekend.
this is how you know it's the offseason, everybody. We're talking about San Antonio football teams that kept come and gone. So welcome to the offseason. Exactly. But check out Kens5.com right now. We have some stuff coming out for you, even though it is the offseason. You have an article that should be out by now. Those lucky few Spurs fans that got fan boxes in the last few months. I was able to talk with the Spurs themselves and gave me the reasoning and why they're doing this. So go check it out. It's on Kens5.com right now. And get the Kens5 Plus app. Locked On Spurs made it, baby. Casey,
Hey,
we're on it now. We're on the app now. It's official. So you download the Kens5 Plus app. It's there. It's there. So
congratulations on the fancy new Twitter graphics that you have put together. That was very cool.
I had to make it a little bit more professional. I had to take down the Stormtrooper helmet, paint it as a Spur, the Spurs Fiesta colors. That hurt me. I didn't want to do that. I saved that image. I put it in the cloud. Everything. If I ever need it back, I'm gonna put it back out there.
I was gonna say.
But yeah, Casey, you want to follow him on Twitter at Casey_Vieira. We thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. For your second listen, check out Locked On NBA. It's basically 30 minutes of NBA news in just one quick bite-sized podcast. Go download it right now and subscribe to Locked On Spurs on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Spotify, iTunes, you name it, Locked On Spurs is there. So for Casey Vieira, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.